Welcome to the first episode of the Fireside Chat. My name is Vince. This is Brandon. We are former college baseball players, local San Diegans, and here to talk Padres baseball.
There is so much that has happened this year. A lot of it we didn't want to happen.
No.
As Padre fans, the hope is like on its last leg. Coming into it, hope sky high. We had the nation thinking that we could finally dethrone the Dodgers, and here we are. All-Star break, unofficial half, 8.5 back from them.
Giants coming out of nowhere. Diamondbacks coming out of nowhere.
I'm not worried about the
We're
Giants.
just sitting in fourth place.
Yeah, I remember all the trolls of the Dodgers saying, yeah, all this to just be in fourth, fifth place. I'm like, yeah, right. Please don't make them right. Please don't make them right. But let's dive a little bit deeper into kind of how we got here. The first half, the pros, the cons. A big pro, and thank God we have it, was the series coming into this. It's given us hope. It's the reason I can smile today. Because if we ended at Pittsburgh, it's a different person. I'm in a dark room. I'm saying sell, sell, sell. Let's just get some prospects, but that's not the right move.
Right.
What are your thoughts on the first half and how we got here?
Dude, I think it's a lot of the obvious stuff that we hear a lot, right? It's not capitalizing on runners in scoring position. It sure seems like there was some chemistry issues, which I don't know. We didn't have that as part of our outline for the show, but it's interesting. So maybe we'll touch on it.
Nelson Cruz.
Yeah, I know you
Why
had,
is he
you had
gone?
some theories there.
I
right?
do have theories.
There's some theories there. Yeah, I don't know. Just like not a clicking. You know, I guess if I had to like chalk it up to anything, I guess it's just big time players not playing big time.
Yeah, and you got to wonder, when you get that many big-time players in a room, a lot of them are used to having that weight thrown all on them. And now these guys that are used to having it, Juan Soto is a great example. He's the dude in the Washington Nationals organization. They expect him to be the guy to drive in the runs every time. Well, now he comes to San Diego. You already have Manny Machado. This is his team.
Right.
You have Tatis this year coming back. The signing of Bogarts, it's like, well, if you're the player, are you thinking, oh, this is nice, like, we have so many guys, it's not just me, and that changes your approach in even just the slightest way, then you're not having that same success? Does it start to snowball there? I don't know. I mean, these are things that are in their minds that we'll never be able to really know for sure, but speculation, it's different.
Yeah. Now, I think, too, as got my batteries recharged here, we have, I think I had mentioned it to you earlier this week, but I was convinced that Manny Machado was still hurt for like a vast majority of that first half. He had the hand, right? Like he got hit right in the hand.
Yep.
Out for a couple days, like his first IL stint in I don't even know how long.
I think it was since the ankle. Remember when he came back?
But he didn't even know
fast.
I don't think he was on the IL. I think he was just took like 3 days off and then just played through it.
Real quick. Yeah. That was unbelievable.
I know.
I watched that live and I literally thought he broke his ankle.
I thought he was like, well, he's done. But no, he was just like, hey, give me 2 days off. And I'm back. That was amazing. But so, like, I'm kind of convinced he wasn't playing 100%. We know Bogarts wasn't playing at 100%.
Yep.
He was, like, wishing for a cortisone shot.
How nice of us to find all this out. Yeah, where he comes out and says, I had this problem for a long time at Boston. It's like, oh, well, good. I'm sure that'll get better with age.
Right, that's true. That's true. So, lots going in on all that. But let's look at, let's see, the season stats here. So
real quick, because you bring up a good point.
Yeah.
With Machado potentially not being 100%, it looks like in the last couple series that his offense is finally starting to come around. And a lot of respect to Machado because this is his team. He is the captain. And if you told me when we signed him, when he was the villain of the MLB, not hustling, running into people, I wasn't stoked when we got him. I really wasn't.
The whole thing with the Dodgers, right? And I remember he had like the cornrows, and people were like, "What is he doing?"
That has less to do with anything.
I don't know. It like does something, and he was like stepping on people's feet.
Yes,
it was just like he had this whole persona going on.
Exactly. So when we get him, I'm not super stoked. I have come full 180. That guy has become the leader of the clubhouse. I like what he stands for. That no hustle thing. If you watch 162, 90% of the times he should be hustling. 95, 99% really. Every now and then you'll see a botched ball and he'll still get thrown out because he was jogging. But the guy plays more games than anyone on the team. He stays healthy and he fights to be in there. So it's a part of his process, and I will take him being in the games, 150 plus games, and jogging every now and then versus him going all out, being injury prone. We see it with Tatis. He's even reeled it back a little bit on some of the crazy acrobats that he does. Right. I miss it. But, I respect what Machado does. He is our iron horse. He is the guy that's going to be out there setting the example. So it's nice to see him heat up. Hopefully he can heat up to what he was doing last year.
Well, yeah, I mean, we need end of the year Machado.
Yes.
Right? Like, we have all the superstars.
Machado, he was great.
Well, I guess I just say especially because I felt like he stepped it up to like a second gear when Tatis went out.
Yep.
But hey, I mean, like you said, last couple series he's looking back.
And Bogarts,
looking good.
Bogarts
They're actually
pulled a home run the other day, a couple home runs, and
right.
he's always said it. I'm not a pull hitter, but to be able to do that is a sign of him doing things right because his hands are getting inside. He's getting to that ball versus trying to fight it the other way and getting a weak fly out. So
I thought a good moment. I don't remember which game it was, but I think it was just like literally it was as simple as runner on second, 2 outs. Bogarts just flares it to right field, hyped, and I was all for it because you know what I mean. Because it was that's what's missing all year, and we know we're capable of it, and. So it was just, I don't know, it fired me up.
You know what? That's actually really telling of the Padres season in a nutshell is that you've got guys like Bogart, superstars who have done superstar things, getting fired up about hits to the opposite field, getting in a run. We are in a dire need of offense. You see Jake Cronenworth, and I love Jake Cronenworth. He's awesome. I hope he gets a Gold Glove at first. He's deserved one at second for years. But that guy's struggling offensively. And you see him when he gets into the big situation and gets the hit, he's screaming. This guy's a quiet guy. He's a steady guy, and you're seeing that emotion come out of him on those situations. You're seeing Bogarts in that.
Yep.
These guys want it. It's not a matter of not wanting it. So anyone who's putting that out there, that's just a false media-made thing.
Yeah.
There's not a lack of drive in the clubhouse, but there is absolutely, I think, fear at times in that clubhouse because this many times of coming up short, look at extra innings, they still don't have a win.
Right.
And it ties directly with their running and scoring position issues because what is extra innings? A guy in scoring position going, and we're not able to come through. So there is that kind of feeling of, oh God, here we go again. They still want it, but there is that feeling now, and it's going to take some time to get that washed over your back and feeling confident again. But there are signs of that to come. It's exciting.
It is. It is indeed. So yeah, let's talk
pitching. That's been a highlight.
We can do pitching.
I like Cy Young Blake Snell.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that version of him since he came to San Diego. People talk about second half Snell. Last year he was way better than what he was in the first half then.
Yep.
But what we're seeing right now is Cy Young Snell.
Well,
it's unbelievable.
You know what it is? It's throwing strikes.
Yes.
That's what it is. Because his stuff's always nasty. I remember thinking that all last year. I was like, he's throwing upper 90s. He's got a ridiculous curveball. You know what I mean? And it's and everyone who faces him, he's like, oh, that he's got stuff. Oh, so it's sure. But he was just, he was pitching. Oh, and efficiency in the early innings. Because I remember last year,
2 innings, 45 pitches.
Yeah. So it's when he can be around the zone, like you said, that's Cy Young Snell. Stuff is there. Throw strikes.
He's got the stuff. He's always had it. And that's why it's so frustrating watching him the whole first half of the year. Not the whole first half. I take it back. He's been great for months. But in the beginning of the year, dude, I wanted him gone. I couldn't stand watching his outings because it was all right, he's laboring through 2-3 innings, and half of those times when he labored through those, he'd finally get popped after going 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, walk.
No.
Or hit.
Yeah, I think even, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, I think it was his first 7 starts or something of this year, they lost every game. And he might not have necessarily been on the hook for the loss, but we lost every single game. And it's just if this guy's supposed to be your 1 or 2, I understand why you were get rid of him.
Yeah, and let's be honest. These are all emotionally driven statements. No, we're not going to get rid of Blake Snell. Yeah, but at the same time, like you said, we were losing every game. Yeah. He wasn't getting run support. In fairness to him, he was not getting run support. But I don't want to bury or dig him out of the grave. I mean, he was really bad, and now he's amazing. I mean, he broke Jake Peavy's 10+ 12 or 10+ K outings in a row, and he's still on that.
Right.
He can keep going. He can continue to set that record.
The extra juice he brought to the Tampa Bay game, that was probably the best I've seen Snell since he was on Tampa Bay. right? Like that was kind of what we had wished he was the whole time, and then you saw it, and you're like, "Oh hell yes!"
I know. I'm a little frustrated though. I mean, he's going into his free agency year, and now he's getting all expensive. But good for him. That's awesome. I've heard from so many different accounts that Blake Snell is one of the nicest guys in the organization. We have a lot of great dudes on the Padres side.
Yeah, he just seems like a cool dude.
People at the front office. He goes and hangs out with the interns, with the low-level organization people, and you just don't see that all the time. Not every person needs to do that, but when they do, really cool. Love that Blake Snell's like that. I love his relationship with Mudcat.
Piece that you're talking about, you know, like. And it's just I feel like they always, there's a reason why I feel like every time he has a start and then like the next game they'll bring him on the broadcast. But I love it because he's always got something funny or insightful going on, which is great to see.
He's a good dude, but there is a tie to what his success has brought, and that was when he started pitching to Sanchez. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on Sanchez? I'm curious because I haven't talked to you about him very much. I'm mixed on him.
Yeah, we haven't talked that much. Obviously, I mean, right out the gate when they picked him up, I was fired up. I think I sent you an article like the second they signed him, right? And we were both kind of fired up. Rightfully so. I mean, we had zero production from catcher all year. And that's like not even exaggeration. No, if you look at the numbers, it's
as close to zero as you can without actually being asleep.
So, obviously, like at first, came out, boom, freaking hitting home runs. Slowed down now, but it's like, but at the same time, it's like you kind of knew, like we knew he wasn't going to hit 300, but he was going to hit some bombs. So he's actually performing, I think, how you'd expect for him to perform. And actually, too, I've actually been pleasantly surprised with his defense because I always knew he had a cannon. Like that was the thing I always remember because I remember him when he was younger coming up on the Yankees, and everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's just power, like power arm, power bat," which is still there, but it's like but the defense has been there, and it seems like all the pitching, like from the interviews I've seen, they are very comfortable throwing to him. Yeah. I think just having, he seems to mesh well with the team, so it's like, for me, I'm all in. Like I think Gary Sanchez should be in there almost every day. Actually, probably every day, because when he's not catching, put him in DH, right? If he can sustain it, right? If he has the stamina. It's like, that being said, it's like, I don't know. I guess I almost want to talk, not about Gary, because I think he's doing a great job, but it kind of made me think about like Nola a little bit. So, because that's the next piece to this puzzle.
Well, you know what? A couple things. Yeah. So Nola, I'm going to give a tip of the cap to Nola because this is a guy who has not come through a lot. It's not easy to do that. He's a nice guy. The pitchers like him. He does the work. He puts in the work. He's just not getting the results. And it seemed like every time he came up to bat, runners in scoring, it was like letdown after letdown after letdown. No break to just start off an inning with no outs and go up there and just try and get on. Yeah. It was always runners on second and third or bases loaded, and that's hard. He's resorted to bunting, 80% of his at-bats, it would feel like. But I like Nola. I respect that his attitude, outside looking in, has not changed. Yeah. I don't think he's being a cancer in there. Right. I think he openly was fine with Sanchez coming in. No one's fine having their job taken. Don't get me wrong. Sure. But he wasn't going to be the guy that's going to be like, who's this new guy?
He's such a professional. He's a professional. But he's not going to let that get in the way of him contributing to the team winning. He doesn't have the ego that's going to
he's great. And then
impact the team.
For Sanchez, what a start. I mean, talk about coming into a situation that was so just like, desolate in offense, and then being that immediate spark where everyone falls in love with you. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I heard in the post-game interviews, they talk about how the team was really open to him. Everyone, Toddy, Manny, all these guys are speaking to him and making him feel at home, and I've never heard something like that before, where it's like...
My instant thought there was... they were all on the WBC Dominican team together, right? Like that's what I thought. I was looking at our roster and I was like, well, Toddy didn't play in it, but he would have, but
Soto.
Soto, Nelson Cruz is the GM.
Yep.
Is Odor? Was he on?
No.
He might not have been on the team, but he's one of the boys, right? Is he from the Dominican or?
We done boys.
But anyways, it's just like, there was, Machado, of course, duh. Yeah. But that was kind of the core of the Dominican team. So they just played an entire spring, giant world tournament with him too. So you already had some time to bond with him. And then when the leaders can accept him so fast, it becomes a no-brainer, I think, for the rest of the team,
Yeah. I just hope he hits 200 to 220.
Yep.
Puts up double-digit home runs, some RBIs.
Bats or something.
And then limits the running game. That's huge. We have not had that since Hedges left.
He's got a cannon.
Since Hedges left, we have not had someone who can throw someone out at second base. And it's infuriating to watch someone talk about a pitching staff hating that, right?
Yeah.
You walk a guy, well, now you got a runner in scoring because we can't control the run game.
Right.
And none of them are quick to the plate.
Right.
They're all stuff guys.
Yep.
And they're like, I'll just strike them out. But yeah, it helps when you got Sanchez back there to make those plays for you.
So let's talk trade deadline. I feel like that's kind of an interesting segue because we've kind of covered the different positions. So we've covered,
we didn't talk Nelson Cruz. I still have a theory on that. I don't want to get slammed for my theory on Nelson Cruz, but
let's talk about that a little bit closer to the end.
Fine with me.
I like that. It's a little bit juicier. Save a little juicy nugget there to end these off.
I like nuggets.
But yeah, let's talk trade deadline. So trade deadline is August 1st. Let's just start simple. If you are AJ Preller, you're the GM, what are you doing?
I'm mortgaging the future because my job is on the line. Oh my God, his track record is terrible. He's gonna do everything he can for us to make the playoffs and make this not look bad because he's tried this twice.
Right.
So
you think he's like on his last kind of like KAJ?
I don't know. Him and Seidler
shot.
They seem to be on really good terms. Like he has him bought in. He's gotten the keys to the castle, and he doesn't seem discouraged with what's happening. They want to win more, but I mean, he's not saying we need to sell everything. There's quote, there will never be another fire sale in San Diego, and then the season happens, and you're like, gee, should we have a fire sale? Right. But that being said, I do think we're going to go out and get a piece or two. I don't think he has the leverage to. I mean, well, we don't even have the prospects to give up for a big piece. Right. I could see a relief pitching arm. We could use that for sure. We've been having some struggles in that recently, but anytime you're going into the hunt.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to solidify the back end of the game and have an extra piece. And we need it. So, you got Suarez coming back.
Got it.
Dear God, come back
soon. So you're not necessarily...
I'm not a big-time buyer.
Not a big buyer.
We're not selling.
But not selling, not a big-time buyer. So you're more just like a Swapski kind of guy?
Well, you got to look at who you have in here. I mean, my God, we have Bogarts, Manny, Tatis... all of them. Cronenworth, when he starts playing right, you got X Factor Trent Grisham. Give me playoff Trent. It's in there.
It's true.
Ha-Seong Kim, elite defender across the whole MLB. I think he's number 1 in defensive runs saved.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, he's starting to figure it out offensively against 95 plus. Before it was just throw a fastball up and in, watch him swing, lose his helmet, walk back to the dugout. But he's gotten so much better. There's so many pieces. You don't need to go out and get them. You just need to let the guys do it. And they need to do it. We have the pieces.
Yeah. So for you, it's more depth.
Bolster. Yeah.
Bolster some depth. Got it. Let me look at this. So let me bring up the standings here. So the Padres are sitting at 43 and 47.
Feels worse.
Yeah, right? It does. So that's 8.5 games back in the NL West and 6 games back from wild card spot. So it's like, you're right. It felt worse. Mm-hmm. It did feel worse. And then part of it could have been, like we had talked about, like that last 2 series before the All-Star break went 5 out of 6. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, things to build on there. So that's where we sit currently. What series? So we got, coming right back from the All-Star break, so starting on Friday, I believe, we got the Phillies, and we're in Philadelphia, and it's a 4-game set with a doubleheader on Saturday.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Normally I would say this is a time where the Padres would go into Philly with a chip on their shoulder after what happened in the playoffs.
Right.
But right now I think we're so far removed from that and things have happened where it's just we need to have a good start. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be cool. I would love to see Suarez come out and throw the first pitch. No, I'm kidding. But what's weird...
Bryce Harper catching?
Yeah. Well, no, he's hitting. He's actually not been hitting for power lately. I know he's coming off injury and all these things. He'll be fine. But weird to see him not hit for power. Mm-hmm. Guy still hits like 300 coming off
TJ.
An interesting what a joke.
Too.
Guy is unreal. But yeah, I'm hopeful. I think we'll know a lot after the first 2 games. Mm-hmm. I think that'll dictate my view of what second half Padres will be. It's not the end all be all, but I really do think that will be telling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I saw it was Darvish is starting the first game. So
we got our horses going.
Yeah, but Schwarber.
Good for him, by the way. Darvish.
The only thing I think of is Darvish versus Phillies, and I just think about Schwarber hitting like a 500-foot ball.
Farthest hit ball in San Diego history.
Remember turning, I think I actually turned that game on like right when that at bat happened, and I was like, all right, here we go. And like first pitch, it was just like the furthest ball in Petco Park history.
I don't have a reason to hate Schwarber.
It was amazing.
I don't have a reason to hate him. I always disliked him for no reason. When he hit that, dude, I would have stood on home plate and just looked at it. I mean, that was one of those balls where you could do whatever you want because guess what? You just broke a record. That went second deck. I had season tickets out there and never got a ball there. It's just never happened. Right. I mean, that was really unbelievable. As a fan of baseball, it was just like, my God, that's impressive.
I watched that replay so many times, just like
it was sick.
It was it was amazing,
and it happened against me. I hated it, and I still can look at that and just go, that is amazing.
Well, right. It's like if you give up a bomb, it's like you better be an absolute shot, right? I would actually be.
That wasn't a shot. That was a cannon. It was a rocket ship.
But it's like you don't want the wall scraper where it's just barely missing out. Like it hit a 500-foot bomb off. There's no doubt.
Darvish deserves some credit, though. He's another guy getting a little bit older, and he's still doing it.
He's still doing it. Dude.
He's a pitcher. He's crafty. I think he'll.
I mean, every time he takes him out, I feel like, okay, we got a chance today, and that's like.
He's got a fun trait where he can give up 3 runs in the first and look terrible, and then still pitch you 7 innings, three runs.
Pitches.
He's cool in that regard. You always have hope with him. It's like, well, maybe he'll find a different pitch that's working out of his 100 pitches.
Mm-hmm.
I want to put out do you have a dark horse for who you think will be a huge
second
half hero? And it doesn't have to be a hero, but just maybe something that isn't as publicly put out. Because everyone's telling you, well, if Manny and Bogarts get going, they're going to be fine.
So give me a hotter one
take.
Is Manny. That's the easy one.
You want mine? I put you on the spot.
Give me a minute. I'll
for
think
me,
about it. Yeah.
Jake Cronenworth. And you'll hear people say oh yeah, Jake, get him going. But I don't think people read enough into the type of guy that Jake Cronenworth is, right? So this is a guy who went to Michigan. His dad gives him his old car. Here, son, here are the keys. Enjoy college. That man is still driving that car today. Speaks a little bit of weird... Take it either way. Whatever direction you want to take it. That's a type of person that does that and still has, as a MLB professional, signs an extension.
There was someone else who did it. I think... Who was I reading about?
If you cut me off to think about a name.
No, I know it's Brandon Nimmo. He did the same thing, is what I heard. He still drives a Nissan Altima, I think.
And I like Nimmo's play. I like his style.
He's good.
He's a grinder. So you got Jake Cronenworth, who's a guy who will do anything that's asked of him. He'll play a great second base. He plays a Gold Glove second base, a Gold Glove first. Yeah. He held it down at shortstop. These are all things that earn you respect in the clubhouse. I think Jake Cronenworth is a very respected person in the clubhouse. He's a guy who has admittedly put way too much pressure on himself. He wants to play well. He signed this extension, and it changed. There was a switch. He really, really, really is bought into San Diego, the city, San Diego, the team, and he wants to perform to his contract. And if he can do that, you're going to see a happier Jake Cronenworth. He's already he's even keeled.
Yeah.
But I want to see the Jake Cronenworth that's screaming after he hits the game-winning hit like he did in the postseason. I want to see more of that, and he is bought in.
Right.
So get that guy going. His clubhouse presence is great. He's saving runs defensively.
Yep.
Give him a little bit more pull side pop. I don't even really need the pop. I take that back.
Just
give me average. Give me some. I love the Crone zone. But just let him hit for more average, drive in a couple more runs, be a little bit better of an at-bat, and just be the most elite 7th hitter, 6th. Someone who extends our lineup. That is such an underrated part of your lineup that doesn't get enough attention. You have superstars. When your 6, 7, 8 guys are going, your team is different. And he can do that easily.
Right.
So Jake Cronenworth is my call. If he picks it up in the second half, dynamics are going to be great in the clubhouse. Results are going to be great on the field. I'm all in on Jake Cronenworth having a second half that we can be proud of. I love that guy. I hope he figures it out because it's been painful lately.
Yeah. I actually saw a super interesting, I think it was probably MLB Network, there's a statistic on him where it's everyone's saying oh, Cronenworth's not producing, which again, he's not compared to his previous years. But what was really interesting was, I think they were saying if you play him at second base, his wins above replacement, he's top 7 or 8.
8, yeah.
8. And then at first base, 16? Which he plays something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Mid-teens.
Really bad.
Really bad.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's kind of interesting to think about. And it's I guess the theory is that in theory, we should be getting more production out of, shortstop and...
Opportunity cost of first base is a real thing because if you were to bring up some basher who just, hits bombs and is offensively that guy, you are losing out on that by putting Cronenworth there. So that's a real thing. But he can, if he hits for average and hits in some runs, I'm talking sac flies, I'm talking second and third singles, it won't be that bad.
Right.
But he's been bad.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a good take, and I think you're absolutely right. I don't know if I have one where I'm going to say like, oh, I think he's going to have a good second half, but I'll say who I want to have a good second half is Trent Grisham.
I know.
I want him to do so well because we've seen it, right? Like we've seen the sparks, and I think he's a guy too who can transform the team because he's got the speed, he's got power. You know what I mean? Like he's got everything.
Pop is dope.
He's got all the tools that you need, right? He's like, I mean, he's always going to be good in the outfield, which is why he's still playing and why he stays in the lineup because he's a Gold Glove center fielder. But imagine, right? Like I think you mentioned earlier in the show, it was right postseason Trent Grisham or 2020 Trent Grisham when he was remember when he was leadoff?
Give me 2020 Padres, please.
Yeah, exactly. But even if we could just get him, you know, like I think he's still like floating just below Mendoza line, but
yeah, I like it.
You know, if you can get him a little bit of bump, you know, like he makes things happen. He scores runs with his speed too.
Put him in the 9th spot and just be
a secondary like leadoff guy. Like he can turn some things around. I think he's got the tools, he's got the skill set to really make a big impact. And we've seen it in the past. We know he's capable of it. I guess if I had to nail it down, I don't know. I go so back and forth with, you know, guys changing their 2-strike approach because it's like some guys are like, oh, no, he's got pop, let him take a hack. And then other guys are like, no, choke up, make contact. I just feel like his swing and miss is just too much. I don't know. I would recommend to him.
This is probably going to get edited out right here, this statement. But, like, oh, gosh, how do you put it? Basically, the Padres are all in on the home run. You know, we are, let's see, I have the stats here. We are 10th in top 10. We are 10th, but technically top 10 in the league in home runs, but we're 23rd in average. We're not getting on base a lot. We're hitting home runs a decent amount.
Right.
We're first in walks, but that's almost all because of Soto. But yeah, I mean, OPS 16th. That's really kind of what a lot of people judge it on, and that's not great. So there needs to be more people on base. So I think you have your guys. It's so easy to say put the ball in play, but we're not playing with guys throwing 97 out of the pen, 100 out of the pen consistently, and these guys are good. The scouting reports have gotten better.
Yeah.
It's not easy to just hit for average, and that's what makes Miami's player, Arias? That guy's nuts. I don't know how he's doing it in this era of baseball.
I was watching his swing. It's so, like,
long through the zone.
And
it's
so,
in the zone
like,
a lot, and it's quick.
And I know he just, like, there's so little that could go wrong.
He's
with
cool.
His swing.
We should all be rooting for him because we've never seen someone get that close. There's a couple things. We've never seen anyone do what Otani's doing, and Arias is doing the average hunt in an era where it should be
the nastiest pitching in history.
Yeah, it's nutty.
Just keeps getting better.
But yeah, I think there's a lot to look forward to with the Padres.
Yeah.
God willing, we figure it out. But we'll know. I mean, this is all first half speculation.
Yep.
We have stuff to look forward to, which is great. We're not out of it. We're not cooked. There's still a lot to be hopeful for. And I think the guys feel that. I think the guys are going to come out and do well.
Yeah.
I'm excited to report back on Thursday.
Yeah, I know, right? Whole new situation. But yeah, I think that does it for episode number 1.
Sweet. Well, on that note, episode 1 is in the books. They'll be coming out every Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific time. None of that Eastern stuff. This is Padres. Actually, if you're on the East Coast and a Padres fan, sorry, it's going to come out at like 11 o'clock your time. But
it's not bad.
We'll have that, and then we'll also be having the shorts should be out by then, recapping the draft players that we got this year. There's some exciting stuff there. Yeah. Shocker. Padres take a high school guy in the first. But beyond
Toolsy.
that, just follow the social media train. We'll be posting it everywhere. But if you're here, if you're listening to the inaugural show,
comments, questions, we'd love to, put our take in on anything, any comments we can add into the show.
Yeah.
We're all for it.
Any interaction is great. And to the 5 people who saw this, thank you. It'll never mean as much as it does now getting this off the ground. And we're excited for it to grow into something we don't know what yet, but hopefully something fun for everybody.
Cool. Catch you next time.